The girl had never seen the world the way others did. Darkness had been her companion for as long as she could remember, yet it had never stopped her from feeling life in ways that others often overlooked. While most children played outside, running and laughing in the sun, she spent hours in her small room, fingers dancing across the keys of a worn-out piano. The music she created became her vision, a way to see colors, shapes, and emotions without needing eyes. From a very young age, her parents noticed something extraordinary. While most children learned songs slowly, she seemed to hear music in a way that went beyond ordinary understanding. Even before she could read Braille music sheets, she memorized melodies just by listening. If someone played a note incorrectly, she could catch it instantly, her tiny hands correcting the mistakes as if the piano were speaking to her directly. Her family knew she was special, but the world outside was not always kind to those who stood apart. Every morning, she woke up with a determination that surprised everyone around her. Though life was not easy, her spirit was unshakable. She learned to navigate her small town with practice steps, memorizing every street, every corner, and every scent. Her parents encouraged her love for music, saving little by little to buy her a better piano, one that could carry the depth and emotion of her growing talent. It was their hope, their silent promise, that she could one day step into a world she had only imagined. The girl's life was simple but full of small wonders. She loved the way the wind felt on her face, the sound of rain tapping on the roof, and the rhythm of her own heartbeat as she played. Music was her companion, her voice, and her way to communicate feelings that words could never capture. At school, she often faced difficulties, but she never let them discourage her. When classmates whispered or stared, she would smile and keep her head high, knowing that one day her talent would speak louder than any cruel word. Her mother often told her stories of musicians who changed the world, people who used their gifts to touch hearts and souls. The girl imagined herself among them, sitting on a grand stage, feeling the weight of the piano keys beneath her fingers, and pouring every ounce of her heart into the music. The dream felt distant yet comforting, a light at the end of every long day filled with obstacles. Music lessons were never easy. While others could rely on sight to guide them, she had to trust her ears and her instincts completely. Each note she played required precision and patience, yet she never complained. She knew that practice was not just about learning a song but about communicating her inner world. Her fingers became extensions of her thoughts, moving with a confidence that amazed even her teachers. When she played, it was not just a melody. It was a story, a feeling, a bridge between her world and the world of those who listened. Despite the challenges, she found joy in every small achievement. Learning a new song felt like climbing a mountain, each note a step closer to the summit. She would play the same piece over and over, letting it flow through her until it became a part of her very being. Her family watched in awe, knowing that they were witnessing something rare and beautiful, a talent that could not be measured by ordinary standards. The town around her was unaware of her growing gift. Neighbors saw a blind girl with a piano, but few could imagine the music she created within the four walls of her room. Her performances were private, small, and intimate, yet each one carried the weight of dreams and determination. She did not play for fame or recognition. She played because it was her life, her way of existing in a world that often did not notice her. Then came the day when word spread about a grand music event in the city. World-famous pianists were invited to perform, and the town buzzed with excitement. For the girl, the announcement stirred something deep inside. She knew this could be the chance she had been waiting for, a stage where her music could speak for her. The thought of performing in front of such an audience both terrified and thrilled her. She imagined the grand hall, the shining lights, and the expectant eyes. Every fear and doubt was pushed aside by a determination she had nurtured for years. Her parents were cautious yet supportive. They understood the risks and the pressure of such an event, but they also knew that their daughter had a rare gift that could not be hidden forever. They encouraged her to try to take the step that so many feared, and to let the world hear what she could do. The girl listened to their advice, feeling a mixture of nerves and excitement. She spent days practicing, each session more focused and intense than the last. Every note, every pause, every touch of the keys was examined, refined, and perfected. In those quiet hours before the event, she often sat at the piano and imagined the audience. She thought of the people who might doubt her, the skeptics who would not believe a blind girl could perform like a master. But instead of fear, she felt resolve. She would show them not through words but through music, a universal language that did not require sight to understand. Her fingers danced on the keys, creating melodies that carried both her dreams and her courage. As the day of the event approached, the town seemed to shrink in her mind, replaced by the image of a massive hall filled with expectant faces. She imagined the spotlight, the grand piano, and the hush that would fall over the audience as she played the first note. It was a moment she had dreamed of countless times, yet now it felt real, almost within reach. She breathed deeply, grounding herself in the rhythm of her practice, letting the music calm her nerves and strengthen her confidence. When the girl finally arrived at the venue, she was overwhelmed by the scale of it all. The hall was larger than anything she had seen, and the grand piano before her gleamed under the bright lights. She could hear the murmur of the crowd, the rustle of programs, and the distant tuning of other instruments. It was intimidating, but she focused on the piano in front of her, feeling its presence, understanding its voice. She knew that once her fingers touched the keys, the rest would follow naturally. Backstage, the world-famous pianist prepared for her own performance. Known for her skill and reputation, she had performed in halls around the world. She looked around and noticed the blind girl being helped onto the stage, and a smirk crossed her face. She underestimated the girl immediately, assuming that someone who could not see could not possibly play with mastery or emotion. The comment was brief, almost casual, but it carried a weight that was meant to diminish. The girl heard the whisper and felt the sting, yet she did not respond. Instead, she let it fuel her determination, turning insult into resolve. The moment was coming. The girl sat down at the piano, feeling the cool keys beneath her fingers. She closed her eyes, letting her world of sound, touch, and memory take over. The audience was silent now, waiting for the first note. She took a deep breath, recalling every hour of practice, every note memorized, every melody absorbed into her being. Then her fingers began to move, gently at first, then with growing confidence and power. Each note resonated through the hall, clear and pure, capturing the attention of everyone present. Her music was not just sound, it was emotion. The hall seemed to breathe with her, every heart listening, every ear tuned to the story she told through her fingertips. People could not believe their eyes or ears. The girl's blindness did not limit her. It had heightened her sensitivity, her connection to the piano, and her ability to communicate. The world-famous pianist watched, her initial smirk fading as awe replaced it. The audience felt the truth of the girl's talent, and the insult meant to belittle her seemed trivial compared to the brilliance now filling the room. Back home, her parents listened to the broadcast with tears in their eyes. They had always believed in her, and now the world was witnessing the extraordinary gift they had nurtured. The girl, unaware of their emotions, continued to play, lost in the music, expressing everything she could not say with words. Every note, every pause, every chord was a testament to her courage, her dedication, and her unwavering spirit. As the last note lingered in the air, the hall remained silent for a heartbeat, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Then, slowly, applause erupted, growing louder, more powerful, filling every corner of the grand hall. The girl opened her eyes, feeling the energy, the appreciation, and the acknowledgement of her talent. She had faced doubt, insult, and disbelief, and through it all, she had triumphed. Music had been her guide, her shield, and her voice. The journey was just beginning, but this moment would stay with her forever, a reminder that talent, determination, and courage could break barriers and touch hearts beyond imagination. The day of the big music event arrived with a mixture of excitement and tension. The girl could feel the energy buzzing around the grand hall even before she stepped inside. People hurried past her, discussing performances, comparing pianists, and speculating who would win the audience's admiration. She clutched her hands together, trying to steady the nervous flutter in her stomach. She had prepared herself for this moment for years, but nothing could fully prepare her for standing among the best musicians in the world. Backstage, famous pianists rehearsed, their fingers moving over shiny keys, perfecting every note. The girl sat quietly, listening to the melodies, letting the sounds guide her thoughts. Her heart raced as she imagined stepping onto the stage, knowing that everyone's eyes would be on her. She reminded herself to focus not on the crowd, but on the music she had worked so hard to master. Among the performers was a world-famous pianist whose reputation preceded her. She was confident, poised, and widely admired for her flawless technique. When she noticed the blind girl being helped to the stage, she arched an eyebrow and exchanged a small smirk with her assistant. The comment she whispered was barely audible to anyone else but sharp enough to pierce the girl's resolve. "She won't last a minute out there." The words struck her, but she did not respond. She had faced doubt before, and the opinions of others had never held power over her passion for music. Instead, she let the comment settle in her mind like a spark, igniting determination rather than fear. She repeated to herself, quietly and firmly, that her music would speak louder than any insult. As the program progressed, other pianists took the stage, performing with skill and grace. The audience applauded politely, some even rising to their feet. The girl watched and listened, noting the nuances in their playing, the confidence they exuded, and the reactions of the crowd. She studied their performances not to imitate, but to understand what it meant to command a stage, to tell a story through sound alone. When it was her turn, she felt her pulse quicken. She took a deep breath and let herself feel every emotion, every memory, every note she had memorized countless times. The assistant guided her to the piano, and the cool weight of the keys beneath her fingers grounded her. The audience was silent now, waiting, curious about the blind girl who was about to play. She closed her eyes and let her fingers move instinctively, recalling the countless hours of practice, the lessons she had learned from every mistake, every triumph, every melody that had flowed through her home. The first note rang out, clear and strong, breaking the silence of the hall. The girl's performance began with gentle, flowing notes that seemed to float through the air, carrying a story only she could tell. At first, some in the audience whispered to each other, uncertain if she could truly play. The world-famous pianist, seated at the front, watched with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. She leaned back, expecting the performance to falter, certain that the blind girl could not maintain control or emotion on such a large stage. But as the music continued, a transformation occurred. The notes grew bolder, richer, and more expressive. The girl's fingers danced over the keys with precision and grace, each chord resonating with feeling. The audience could no longer whisper or doubt. The music captivated them entirely. She told a story with her piano, a story of hope, struggle, and triumph that transcended sight and reached directly into the hearts of those listening. The pianist's smirk faded as the girl's skill became undeniable. Each note was deliberate, each transition smooth and powerful. The crowd leaned forward, listening intently, some holding their breath as they were carried away by the music. She did not merely play. She commanded the stage with her talent, showing that her blindness did not limit her but had, in some way, enhanced her sensitivity and understanding of the instrument. Backstage, other performers exchanged surprised glances. They had underestimated her, assuming that a blind girl could not compete with seasoned professionals. The realization that she could not only play but convey profound emotion left them stunned. They whispered among themselves, trying to process the skill and courage they were witnessing. The girl's hands moved with a confidence that came from years of dedication. She felt every key, every vibration, and allowed herself to be fully present in the moment. The music flowed naturally, guided by her heart and experience, creating a performance that was both technically brilliant and deeply moving. The audience, now completely silent, felt the power of her story without needing words or explanation. The world-famous pianist, who had scoffed earlier, now watched with genuine astonishment. She realized that her assumptions had been wrong. The blind girl before her was not just talented. She was extraordinary. Each note challenged the idea that sight was necessary for mastery, proving that dedication, intuition, and passion could surpass expectations. The girl was unaware of the changing expressions around her. She played not for recognition, not for approval, but because music was the essence of her being. She poured every feeling, every struggle, and every triumph into the piano. The room seemed to pause with her, time stretching as the audience became part of the story she told through her fingers. Moments that might have seemed ordinary to an outsider were monumental for her. The way her fingers pressed each key, the subtle pauses, the dynamic shifts, all were deliberate and meaningful. Every challenge she had faced, every insult, every moment of doubt had led to this performance, making each note a triumph of perseverance and resilience. As the piece neared its end, the music swelled, filling the hall with a crescendo that left no heart untouched. Her fingers moved with energy and passion, bringing the final notes to a powerful conclusion. The last sound lingered, vibrating through the room, leaving a profound silence in its wake. It was a silence of awe, respect, and acknowledgement, a silence that spoke louder than any words. For a heartbeat, the hall was still. Then, slowly, the audience erupted into applause, rising to their feet. The girl opened her eyes, sensing the energy and appreciation from every corner of the room. She felt the power of the moment, the realization that she had overcome doubt and insult to show the true depth of her talent. The music had done what words could not, proving her worth and silencing those who had underestimated her. The world-famous pianist, now seated quietly, could not deny the impact of the performance. She approached the girl after the event, offering a nod of respect and acknowledgement. No words were needed. The girl's music had spoken for her, conveying everything that could not be expressed in conversation. Back in her home, the girl's family shared the broadcast, tears streaming down their faces. They had always known her talent, but seeing the world recognize it brought a mixture of pride and relief. The girl had faced a challenge greater than any before, and she had emerged victorious, proving not only her skill but her courage, perseverance, and spirit. This performance marked a turning point in her life. She had transformed a moment of insult into an opportunity to shine, showing the world that talent and determination could overcome prejudice and doubt. She had faced a renowned musician, a skeptical audience, and her own fears, and had triumphed through the universal language of music. As the applause faded and the hall emptied, the girl sat quietly at the piano, letting her fingers rest on the keys. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had shared a piece of her heart with the world. The insult she had faced earlier no longer mattered. It had been a small obstacle compared to the greatness of what she had achieved. Her music had spoken for her, leaving an indelible mark on everyone who had listened and inspiring those who might one day follow in her footsteps. After the event, the girl returned home feeling a mixture of pride and exhaustion. Her performance had been a success, but she knew that it was only one step on a long journey. While applause and recognition were wonderful, she understood that talent alone would not sustain her dreams. Constant practice, focus, and resilience were necessary to truly grow. She welcomed the challenge with quiet determination, ready to push herself further. At home, she spent hours at her piano, repeating pieces she had played during the event and experimenting with new melodies. Each session was intense, requiring complete concentration. She learned to listen not only to the notes but to the spaces between them, discovering that silence could be as expressive as sound. Her fingers moved with increasing precision, guided by intuition and memory, allowing her to create music that felt alive and full of emotion. Her family continued to support her in every way they could. Her parents watched from nearby, sometimes offering advice, other times simply observing in awe. They marveled at how her determination had grown stronger after the insult and how she used it as fuel to improve. Friends who had believed in her talent encouraged her, bringing small tokens of support or simply sharing moments of laughter and conversation that kept her grounded. The girl faced moments of frustration as well. Learning new, challenging pieces required patience, and sometimes she felt that progress was slow. Mistakes were inevitable, but instead of feeling defeated, she analyzed each one, understanding why it happened and how to correct it. Every error became a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to grow. Her mind became sharper, her touch more refined, and her ability to express emotion through music deepened. She also sought guidance from experienced mentors and teachers who could help refine her skills. They noticed not only her technical ability but also the depth of her interpretation and the natural connection she had with the piano. They encouraged her to explore different styles, from classical to contemporary, helping her develop versatility and confidence. The girl absorbed every suggestion, practicing tirelessly until the lessons became part of her instinctive playing. During this time, she also faced doubts from outsiders. Some questioned whether a blind girl could sustain a professional music career or succeed in larger venues. Others wondered if she could compete with performers who had the advantage of sight. Yet, each doubt strengthened her resolve rather than weakening it. She knew her talent and her dedication could overcome barriers, and she let the skepticism of others motivate her rather than discourage her. Every day brought a new challenge, and she embraced each one with courage. Simple things, like navigating unfamiliar spaces or adjusting to new instruments, became exercises in adaptability and focus. She developed a heightened sense of hearing, touch, and rhythm, allowing her to understand music on a level that went beyond sight. This sensitivity enriched her performances, giving them a depth and authenticity that touched listeners' hearts. In addition to technical mastery, she worked on emotional expression. She learned to convey feeling through dynamics, tempo, and phrasing, transforming each piece into a story. Music became a way to communicate the full range of human experience: joy, sadness, hope, longing, and triumph. Her goal was not to impress audiences with speed or complexity, but to make them feel, to connect with them in a way that transcended barriers. As she continued to practice, she imagined herself performing again on larger stages, in front of audiences that stretched beyond her town. She visualized the piano, the lights, and the expectant faces, preparing herself mentally for every scenario. These visualizations helped her feel confident and in control, turning anxiety into anticipation. She learned to trust not only her fingers but her instincts and intuition, knowing that music was as much about emotion as it was about technique. Her mentors introduced her to more challenging compositions, pieces that required intricate fingerwork and deep understanding of musical phrasing. She approached each one methodically, breaking it down into smaller sections, mastering each part before combining them. Her perseverance paid off as she gradually conquered pieces that had once seemed impossible. Every achievement, no matter how small, fueled her confidence and inspired her to aim higher. She also explored improvisation, allowing her creativity to flow freely without restriction. Improvisation became a form of personal expression, a way to communicate her thoughts and feelings spontaneously. These sessions helped her develop a deeper understanding of musical structure, harmony, and emotional impact. Her ability to adapt, to create music in the moment, strengthened her overall skill and prepared her for unpredictable performance scenarios. In quiet moments, she reflected on the insult from the world-famous pianist and the doubt she had faced from others. She realized that these experiences had shaped her resilience and determination. Instead of feeling bitter or discouraged, she transformed those negative moments into motivation. Each note she played became a statement, a proof of her abilities, and a testament to her courage. Her family often reminded her that the journey was more important than any single performance. They emphasized that the discipline, focus, and passion she cultivated would carry her further than any applause. These reminders helped her stay grounded, ensuring that her growing talent was matched by humility and dedication. She understood that true success came not just from recognition, but from continuous growth and love for what she did. The girl also connected with others who shared her love for music. She exchanged ideas, collaborated, and learned from peers, expanding her perspective and enriching her own style. These connections reminded her that music was a community, a shared experience, and that her talent could inspire and uplift others. She found joy in contributing to this world, in sharing not only her music but her journey and determination. As months passed, her skills and confidence grew exponentially. She approached each day with a structured routine, balancing practice, study, rest, and reflection. She discovered the importance of patience, persistence, and self-compassion, understanding that progress was a journey rather than a destination. Each step, each challenge, each triumph was part of a larger story, and she embraced it fully. Through her dedication, she began to attract attention from local music communities. Teachers, performers, and listeners recognized her talent and potential. Invitations to perform at small events came gradually, and she approached each one with the same focus and passion that had brought her to the grand hall. Each performance, no matter the size, became an opportunity to refine her skills and connect with her audience. The girl's inner world expanded as she experienced both success and challenge. She learned to celebrate victories, no matter how small, and to treat setbacks as lessons rather than failures. Music had become not only her passion but her teacher, guiding her through life's complexities and teaching her resilience, patience, and empathy. As she continued her preparation, she imagined herself returning to the grand stage where she had faced the insult. She visualized playing with even greater skill and confidence, proving not only to others but to herself that she could rise above doubt and adversity. These mental rehearsals were as important as physical practice, helping her feel ready for any challenge. Her story of perseverance and dedication spread quietly through her community. People admired her not just for her talent, but for her courage, determination, and unwavering spirit. She became an inspiration for those facing obstacles, showing that passion and effort could overcome barriers and transform dreams into reality. By the time the next big opportunity approached, the girl was prepared not just technically, but mentally and emotionally. She understood her strengths, recognized her growth, and embraced the challenge ahead. She had transformed doubt into motivation, insult into determination, and practice into mastery. Every note she played was a reflection of her journey, a story of resilience, and a promise of what she could achieve. In the quiet moments before she would once again step into the spotlight, she felt a calm focus settle over her. She knew the world would be watching, and she was ready. The preparation had been long and sometimes difficult, but it had shaped her into a musician capable of commanding attention not through spectacle, but through emotion, skill, and heart. She was ready to show the world that nothing could limit the music within her, and that every challenge was an opportunity to shine brighter than ever before. The day of the next big performance arrived with a mix of excitement, nerves, and anticipation. The girl could feel her heart beating faster than usual as she stepped into the venue. The hall was larger and more impressive than the last, filled with rows of seats, high ceilings, and bright lights. The audience was buzzing with curiosity, eager to see the blind girl who had already made a name for herself. She walked slowly, guided by her assistant, feeling the familiar weight of expectation settle over her. Backstage, the atmosphere was intense. Performers adjusted their attire, tuned their instruments, and whispered last-minute encouragements to one another. The girl remained calm, centering herself with deep breaths and quiet focus. She knew that the performance would demand every ounce of skill and emotion she had developed over the years. This was not just another recital. It was her chance to demonstrate that her music could move the world. As she approached the grand piano, she felt the keys beneath her fingers, cold and familiar. She closed her eyes, letting the tactile sensation anchor her in the present. The audience was silent now, sensing the significance of the moment. Even the world-famous pianist, sitting among the front row, watched with a mix of curiosity and restrained anticipation. There was no smirk this time, only quiet attention, as she began to sense that this performance might be unlike anything she had seen before. The girl took a deep breath and let her fingers hover above the keys. Then, with a gentle touch, the first note rang out, pure and resonant. It filled the hall with a calm yet powerful presence. From that first sound, she commanded attention, drawing every listener into the world she created with her music. The notes flowed effortlessly, each one carrying emotion, thought, and story. The audience leaned forward, captivated by the grace and depth of her playing. Her performance was a journey. She began with soft, delicate passages that evoked a sense of wonder and introspection. Every chord, every pause, seemed deliberate, carefully chosen to express feelings that words could not convey. She moved seamlessly from gentle melodies to powerful, dramatic sequences, demonstrating both technical mastery and emotional insight. Each note spoke of her experiences, her struggles, and her triumphs, allowing the audience to understand her story through sound alone. The world-famous pianist could no longer hide her admiration. She watched as the blind girl's fingers danced across the keys with precision, control, and feeling. The music was not only flawless but alive, as though it carried a heartbeat, a soul that could be felt by everyone listening. The pianist, who had once doubted her, now realized the depth of talent and dedication before her. There was no room for condescension, only respect and awe. The audience was completely immersed. Some closed their eyes, letting the music wash over them. Others sat rigid, enthralled by the skill and expression. The girl's performance seemed to transcend the physical space of the hall, touching each listener personally. It was not simply a demonstration of technical ability. It was a profound connection between performer and audience, a shared human experience. She played with complete focus, unaware of the time passing. Every challenge she had faced, every hour of practice, every moment of doubt and determination, flowed through her fingers. The piano became an extension of herself, a vessel for the emotions she had carried inside for so long. She was fully present, fully engaged, and fully herself, allowing the music to guide her as much as she guided it. The piece reached its climax with powerful, resonant chords that filled the entire hall. The girl's fingers moved with confidence and grace, balancing speed, precision, and emotion. The audience felt the energy building, swept up in the crescendo. Even the most skeptical spectators could not deny the brilliance and authenticity of her performance. Every note was a testament to her perseverance, talent, and courage. As the final notes lingered in the air, the hall fell into a profound silence. For a moment, it seemed as though time itself had stopped, allowing the audience to fully absorb the impact of what they had just witnessed. The silence was not empty. It was filled with awe, respect, and deep emotion. The girl remained at the piano, feeling the resonance of the final chords beneath her fingers. She had given everything to this moment, and the world had received it. Then, slowly, the audience erupted into applause. The sound grew, filling every corner of the hall, carrying admiration, amazement, and heartfelt appreciation. People rose to their feet, cheering and clapping, some wiping away tears as they celebrated the extraordinary talent before them. The girl opened her eyes, sensing the energy and warmth of the crowd. She felt a mixture of relief, joy, and pride, knowing that her dedication and passion had created a moment of true connection. The world-famous pianist approached her afterward, offering a handshake and a nod of deep respect. There were no words of insult or doubt this time. The silent acknowledgement carried more meaning than any praise could. It was recognition of talent, courage, and perseverance. The girl felt a quiet satisfaction, knowing that she had not only met the challenge but had exceeded all expectations. Backstage, her family watched with tears in their eyes. They had supported her through every challenge, believed in her even when others doubted, and now they saw the world witnessing what they had always known. Her journey, filled with dedication, struggle, and passion, had culminated in a performance that touched hearts and inspired everyone present. The performance also impacted the local and wider music communities. Teachers, musicians, and enthusiasts praised her skill, emotional depth, and resilience. She became a symbol of determination, proving that obstacles such as blindness could not limit talent or creativity. Her story inspired others to pursue their passions despite challenges, showing that persistence and love for one's craft could overcome prejudice and doubt. As the applause settled and the audience began to leave, the girl sat quietly at the piano, feeling a sense of fulfillment. The journey had been long, filled with obstacles and doubts, but the moment of triumph made every struggle worthwhile. She had proven to herself and the world that her music was a force that could move hearts, break barriers, and inspire change. In the days following the performance, the girl received invitations to perform at various events and concerts. Her reputation grew not because of publicity or fame, but because of the genuine power of her talent and the authenticity of her performances. People were drawn to her music, not only for technical brilliance but for the emotion and story it carried. The experience also deepened her understanding of her own potential. She realized that talent alone was not enough. Courage, persistence, and the willingness to face challenges were equally important. The insult she had received in the past no longer held power over her. Instead, it had fueled her growth, motivating her to reach heights she had once only dreamed of. The girl continued to practice, explore new music, and challenge herself. She knew that every performance was an opportunity to grow, connect, and inspire. Each note she played carried not only her skill but her journey, her courage, and her determination. She had transformed doubt into motivation and had turned challenges into opportunities to shine. Her story became well known, celebrated not only for her talent but for the lesson it conveyed. That obstacles, prejudice, and doubt could be overcome with dedication, passion, and resilience. She inspired countless others, proving that the human spirit, combined with talent and hard work, could achieve extraordinary things. Through it all, the girl remained humble and focused. She continued to let music guide her, allowing each performance to be a reflection of her growth and heart. She had faced the world's doubts and emerged triumphant, leaving an indelible mark on everyone who experienced her music. The world had fallen silent in awe, and in that silence, her story was told, her voice heard, and her journey celebrated. After the performance, the girl felt a sense of calm that she had never experienced before. The applause and praise had been overwhelming, but now, in the quiet moments backstage, she could reflect on everything she had accomplished. It was more than just a successful performance. It was the culmination of years of determination, practice, and courage. She realized how far she had come from the small room in her house, where her fingers had first discovered the piano and where her love for music had been born. Her family embraced her tightly, their joy and pride evident in every hug and tear. They spoke softly, recounting moments from her journey, from her earliest struggles to her most recent triumph. They reminded her that her talent was extraordinary, but it was her perseverance and heart that had truly carried her to this moment. She listened, feeling both gratitude and humility, knowing that her success was built not only on her efforts but also on the love and support of those around her. In the following days, her story spread far and wide. News outlets, music enthusiasts, and local communities shared her journey, emphasizing not only her talent but the obstacles she had overcome. People were inspired by her courage, realizing that limitations existed only in the mind and that determination could transform dreams into reality. Her music became a symbol of hope, perseverance, and the beauty of human spirit. Despite the attention and recognition, the girl remained grounded. She continued to practice daily, understanding that each performance was a chance to grow, to refine her skills, and to connect with her audience. Fame was never her goal. The joy of creating music and sharing it with others had always been her true purpose. She approached every note with intention, allowing her emotions, experiences, and insights to guide her fingers. The world-famous pianist, once dismissive, now approached her with genuine respect. She offered guidance, mentorship, and encouragement, recognizing the girl's exceptional talent. Their relationship transformed from skepticism and judgment to mutual admiration and collaboration. This connection enriched the girl's understanding of music, providing insights she could integrate into her own style. She realized that even those who had once doubted her could become allies and sources of inspiration. As she continued to perform in various venues, she noticed the impact her music had on people. Audience members spoke of feeling understood, of being moved in ways they could not describe. Her ability to communicate through music became her defining gift. It was not about the speed of her fingers or the complexity of the compositions. It was about the connection she created, the emotions she could evoke, and the stories she could tell without words. The girl also became an inspiration to other young musicians, especially those facing challenges. She received letters and messages from aspiring artists, sharing their own struggles and expressing how her journey encouraged them to pursue their dreams. She responded with warmth and guidance, emphasizing the importance of persistence, passion, and belief in oneself. These connections reinforced her sense of purpose, reminding her that her music had the power to uplift, encourage, and transform lives. Through all of this, the girl remained committed to learning and growing. She explored new genres, experimented with different techniques, and collaborated with other musicians. Every experience deepened her understanding of music and expanded her creative expression. She found joy in every discovery, excitement in every challenge, and fulfillment in every opportunity to share her music with the world. Her journey also taught her valuable lessons about resilience and mindset. She learned that insults, doubt, and obstacles could be transformed into motivation and growth. The criticism she had once faced became a reminder of her strength, pushing her to refine her abilities and pursue excellence. She realized that true success was not measured by accolades alone, but by the courage to face challenges, the dedication to one's craft, and the ability to inspire and touch others. In quiet moments, she would sit at her piano, reflecting on her journey. She remembered the first time she had touched the keys, the struggles of learning without sight, and the moments of doubt and fear. She thought of the world-famous pianist's initial dismissal and the power she had found within herself to rise above it. Each memory reinforced her determination to continue, to embrace challenges, and to share her gift with the world. Over time, she began to receive invitations to perform at international events and prestigious venues. She accepted selectively, ensuring that each performance aligned with her values and passion. She wanted to play not for recognition alone, but for the opportunity to move hearts, inspire audiences, and share the beauty of music. Her performances became known for their emotional depth, technical brilliance, and authenticity, attracting listeners from all walks of life. The girl also dedicated time to teaching and mentoring others. She worked with students who faced their own challenges, sharing techniques, strategies, and encouragement. She emphasized the importance of patience, practice, and self-belief. Through these efforts, she cultivated a community of musicians who not only developed skills, but also learned the values of perseverance, resilience, and passion. Her influence extended beyond the stage, shaping the next generation of artists. As her career grew, she remained humble and focused. She continued to explore new music, challenge herself, and deepen her understanding of her craft. She understood that mastery was a journey, not a destination, and that each performance, each lesson, and each collaboration offered opportunities for growth. She embraced the process, knowing that dedication and love for music were the foundation of her continued success. Her story also highlighted the power of human connection. She realized that music was a language that could transcend barriers, touch hearts, and create understanding. Every performance became an exchange, a conversation between her and her audience. She listened, felt, and responded through her playing, creating moments of shared emotion and understanding. This connection gave her performances their unique power and resonance. The girl's journey inspired many, not only because of her talent, but because of her courage, resilience, and unwavering dedication. She showed that obstacles could be overcome, that passion could triumph over doubt, and that the human spirit was capable of extraordinary achievements. Her story became a testament to what could be accomplished through belief, effort, and heart. Years later, she looked back on her journey with gratitude and pride. She had faced countless challenges, overcome doubt, and transformed obstacles into opportunities. Her music had touched lives, inspired others, and allowed her to express the depths of her soul. She knew that her journey was ongoing, that each day offered new lessons, experiences, and opportunities to grow. But she also knew that she had achieved something remarkable. She had turned her passion into a force that could move the world. In the end, the girl understood that her success was not defined by fame, applause, or recognition, but by the joy of creating, the courage to persevere, and the power to inspire. She had faced a world that underestimated her, yet she had risen above it through talent, dedication, and heart. Her music became a voice for herself and for others, a story of triumph that would continue to resonate for years to come. Sitting at her piano in the quiet of her home, she reflected on how far she had come. The keys beneath her fingers were familiar, comforting, and full of possibility. She thought of the young girl who had first discovered music, the struggles, the doubts, and the small victories that had shaped her. She smiled, knowing that every note she played carried her journey, her heart, and her spirit. And in that music, she found not only her voice but a way to touch the hearts of everyone who listened, proving that passion, courage, and determination could truly change the world.